Welcome to enVisioning Success, the weekly podcast that's your prescription for business clarity. In today's episode, we unravel the power of branding beyond logos and emphasizing its impact on profits. Learn how refreshing your brand is a continuous process, crucial for staying relevant. Laura DiBenedetto and Julia Becker-Collins delve into modernizing strategies, sharing their insights on content, visual identity, and resonant storytelling.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the show. We're super excited to have you here as always. I am your host, Laura DiBenedetto, and with me is my sister from another mister, Julia Becker-Collins.
I know.
It is awesome to spend time with you guys again. And Julia, it is always awesome to spend time with you talking about our favorite subject ever. Well, that would be cats and dogs. But the second subject that we love the most is marketing.
Yes, agreed. And just heads up for the listeners, if you hear me cough or have a cough drop in my mouth, it is because I recently got the cold that's going around that I do not recommend.
So 1 star out of 5.
Well, really 0 out of 5 is what I'm saying.
Wow, that's bad. You know, you've really failed when you're getting a 0. All right. So this month we're talking about branding. And as always, this is sponsored by Vision Advertising. We're super excited to supply you with wisdom, help your business grow. This show is 100% about you making money. We support business leaders, and you, my friend, our dear listener, whom we love, you are a business leader, which is why you're here. This show is to help you in every single episode, take something powerful away, bring it back to your company, and go make bank. Today, we're talking again about branding. All month, we're talking about branding. In our first and second episode this month, episodes 5 and 6, we talked about what branding is, what it is not. Branding is basically how people perceive you. That includes your logo, but it's not limited to it. And what it is not is
not your logo.
Yeah.
It's not your logo.
It's not your logo. So that's it. So when we think about branding, sometimes we get a little confused. Sometimes we want to leave it to somebody else, just leave it to a professional or somebody in our office. Sometimes we don't want to think about it. Sometimes we think we're doing well and we're not. But as we talked about in the last episode, and if you didn't listen to it, I would strongly encourage you to go check it out. When you are properly, professionally branded and you have everything organized and you are polished and you've paid attention to the details, you make more money, which is why we're here.
Correct.
So today what we're doing is we're talking about building your content strategy for the modernized brand. So most of the people that we do business with and most of the people who listen to the show are more established businesses, or business leaders rather, been in business for 10 plus years, company usually of 10 to 50 million in size, not your first time at the rodeo. So the context of this show, understand that your content strategy needs to grow up. Your company went through an infancy, it went through the awkward teenage years, and now to be an adult, who is the adult? Yep. Vision Advertising went through the awkward teenage phase. We talked about that in the first handful of episodes. That was fun.
Yes, I am glad you're mentioning that because that was the first thing that came to mind, was that we were in a very awkward teenage phase previously. And now we're not, thank goodness.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's the thing, friends, there's no shame in it. We all got to figure out how to be entrepreneurs. And, this is where you really got to have a lot of kindness and compassion for yourself. You are doing this particular job that you are doing for the first time ever at the place you are for the first time ever. So if you're in your 20th year, it's your first time doing your 20th year. So have compassion for yourself. And please do not expect that you've nailed it, because you probably haven't. I've been at this for 25 years. Have I nailed it? That's debatable. We're really, really good at what we do, but have we nailed it? No, it's a consistent improvement. And there's humility in that, and there's power in the humility. So that's a big part of what we want to talk about today, and help you to take your established, mature company and help you to think about refreshing it a little bit.
Absolutely. I agree. And also there's, like you said, there's no shame in being in that place. And it's also really helpful to understand what you as the individual leader is good at and what you're not good at. I believe it was last episode or the episode before we discussed being self-aware and understanding your strengths and your weaknesses as a leader. And this is what we talked about in terms of Laura's strengths versus my strengths.
Absolutely. When we're thinking about a more established company, there's a couple of things that certainly come to my mind, and one of them is the word stale.
Mm-hmm.
So if you started your company in 1987, I assure you, you will need to update your brand once or twice since that time. I live in a house that was built in 1987, and let me tell you, if they didn't update it, I wouldn't like it.
Yes,
So,
very true.
yeah. Oh my God, my last house, the one I had in Worcester, everything was decorated, including the tile. Everything was dusty rose.
Oh, wow.
I walked into
Oh,
my house, I was like, I feel like pink vomited all over my house. We're going to redo everything.
I feel like that's a really good analogy, though, because if you started your business in 1987, it's like an avocado green kitchen.
1976, I had an avocado green kitchen. My first apartment. It was awful. The fridge was avocado green.
But it's like, yes, that's retro and cool and people like it, but it's not functional and it doesn't represent what can be done right now.
Mm-hmm. It really gives people the wrong message about you. And, when we think about brand, we think about it's how people know you. It's what people understand about you. And when we don't update branding that is from a bygone era, what it says to people is that we're not relevant anymore.
Right. And we're also not paying attention to what people think about us, or we don't necessarily care what people think about us, or we aren't self-aware about what we offer in the marketplace.
Yeah, none of those things are good. So, I'm thinking about some of the folks that we work with, and there's a lot of brand maturity. And when we take on a new client, sometimes their branding is updated and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's very old and it's like from literally like the very beginning when the company's like 35 years old. You have opportunities as a company to not necessarily change who you are, but update who you are. So I promise you, for my much older friends who were alive in the 70s and wearing bell bottoms, you're not wearing them anymore, are you?
Right.
You're not
Well,
tight
except that
rolling your jeans anymore. I know I'm not.
I think bell bottoms just came into fashion again,
They
which is
did not.
terrifying.
Okay, stop trying to make fetch happen.
I'm not saying I endorse them. I am team skinny jeans, but
Yeah.
just because they came back doesn't mean they were good.
Yeah, no. And listen, I really think they're trying to make fetch happen. That's all I'm saying. And if you guys don't understand the reference, it's fine. Most of our listeners are men. It's the movie Mean Girls. Just Google it. It's kind of funny. My jokes really suck when you have to explain them. I should probably think about that.
I think most jokes are not good, so you have to explain them.
Facts. Damn it. Oh, well. So anyway, let's go back to branding. I'm better at that. So when we think about rebranding, there's reasons and times to do rebranding and there's ways to do it. So you want to think about what the role of the content is in reinforcing your brand positioning. You definitely want to think about, much like we talked about in the last episode, the checklist. Where does your brand show up? What are your talking points? And figuring out the role that content plays in that, the stories that are being told about you, the stuff that you're pushing out there. And content is more than just words. It's graphics. It is your brand kit. It is your fonts. It's your everything that we talked about last episode towards the end of it. But it's also the platforms and the formats to consider. Facebook is ubiquitous, but it's not for everyone.
No,
Not.
it's as I say all the time, is the person or people that you are trying to sell to making buying decisions on that platform. Your brother's cousin's sister could give you advice to be on Facebook or TikTok, but if the people you're trying to sell to aren't there, then it's not a good use of your resources.
Well, great example. I've had people ask me over the years, like, oh, well, how come you're not really heavy on Facebook? Because my customers aren't there. Why would I be? I mean, I'm
Correct.
a doom scroller, but that's a personal hobby. That's not a professional thing.
Correct, correct. I love Instagram for all the dog videos and,
Mhm.
things about weightlifting and kitty cats and wild animals. And it's like generally a good time. It's like my turning my brain off and seeing fun things. But we as a company, Vision Advertising, our ideal client isn't on Instagram. So while we have a presence there, it is not where we invest most of our resources.
Right. I mean, if someone finds us because of Instagram, they might look us up on LinkedIn. We do a
Mm,
lot of our more professional pieces there. We've got this podcast, so you want to think about the platforms that actually make sense to your brand. And of course the formats to consider. Uh, if you have a law firm and you're trying to modernize your brand and bring yourself up to current, maybe talking about legal precedent and things like that in a podcast would be a great thing for you. Or maybe in your law firm, everyone is more shy. So you would prefer blogging as a medium. So you don't have to be on camera and you don't have to talk. Like, there is no wrong answer. You just want to understand who you are and who
mhm,
you're not, which we've been really, really pressing that button excessively the last couple episodes here. Um, but it's it's also about creating the right stories
mhm.
um, that resonate with both the people who have been doing business with you over all this time and potential new ones. So, one thing that will come up often when people think about updating a brand, modernizing a brand, revamping a brand, or rebranding entirely, which can be super scary, but totally fun and usually worth it. Um, am I going to alienate my customers?
Right,
If you do
right.
it well and you bring some elements with you from the old brand that did work and
Mhm.
you update them, you will not lose customers. In fact, you'll probably get congratulated. My God, we thought you'd never get to this.
I have a great example of that. So we have a fantastic client that is an insurance agency, and they really focus on B2C rather than B2B. And they're hyper local. They really want to serve people that they could see face to face. That doesn't mean they have to, but they could see face to face. And it's really great that they know that, because oftentimes when I chat with insurance agencies, they don't necessarily have that much of a deep dive on who they're trying to serve. But they have been around since the 90s, and they had a website. It was possibly one of the worst I've ever seen in over 20 years of doing this. It was, and the owner was aware. He understood. And he
This
also
is
was
why we
aware that
don't name names.
correct. He also was aware that he shouldn't be the one to fix it. He knew he had a problem. He knew he needed somebody else to come in and fix it. We built him a beautiful website that was very focused on simplicity and making sure that the people he serves can conduct their entire transaction on the website, because he knew that the new potential customers were so much younger than what he was used to dealing with. And he wanted to make it very, very easy for them, which is great. He also wanted to show the humanity so that they have a distinguishing feature, because, to be able to go into your insurance office in person and have a conversation with somebody is unusual, and that is great for them. They're very much about the hometown. They really want to serve their community. They give back, et cetera, et cetera. And he wanted to make sure that shined through as well. We made sure we updated the Google business listing. We updated their logo. We do blogging for them, really like deep diving on that SEO, because he knows people are searching for local insurance agencies. And he was humble enough to take a step back and say, you know what? I don't know enough about this. I just know enough that I need help.
Mm,
And we really stayed true to who the brand is at its core, but we helped to modernize it and speak to a new generation of potential customers.
awesome. Yeah, I remember that. Um, there are so many great ways to keep the soul of a business intact when you modernize it. I think that modernizing can be a really frightening concept, especially the longer you've had your company, the more frightening it can be. But there's a couple really important times to think about this. Essentially, every 5 years, you have an opportunity for an anniversary. So that's an easy layup. It's a great time. It's like, oh, we're celebrating our 15th anniversary. Yay. That just coincides and you've got an excuse kind of built
Right.
in. So that's a thing. If there's a changing of the guard, maybe you've brought a successor on, maybe it's one of your kids who's going to help to run the company with you, and you're trying to breathe some fresh new life into things. That's a great opportunity. You can coincide it with press, in kind of showing the changing of the guard. I mean, there's so many opportunities for you to do it. And then not coinciding is also fine when it's just old and really needs updating, because you're like, well, shoot, I think this is looking like Dusty Rose from 1987. We need to go ahead and update this.
Avocado kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be the avocado kitchen. Be avocado
Hashtag
toast.
no avocado kitchens.
Yeah. Avocado toast. There's the ultimate rebrand, right? It's like
There you go.
avocado fridge, avocado toast.
Avocado in your
Winning.
fridge.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
So, when we think about, modernizing it, I'm really hoping that what we're doing here is taking some of the scariness out of it. Sometimes it's scary for people and sometimes it's not. And if you entered this episode not scared of the idea of rebranding or updating or whatever, awesome. And we hope that we've been able to give you some ideas and thoughts for how important content is, your platforms and formats, and the importance of stories. Here's some other stuff that you want to think about. You have opportunities at any time to create a brand guide, to give your team, your entire team, even a network of contractors, talking points. Hey, this is what we do. This is who we do it for. You always have an opportunity to build out specificity around your ideal customer. We in the business know that as an avatar. You can always do that at any time, and you can give that to your entire team. You can always refine your logo. You can always update your business cards. You should update your website periodically using a lot of modern technology. One of the easiest ways to tell that a company is really not attentive to their branding and could be professionally lazy and not very good at their job is by looking at their website and seeing how much they've ignored it.
Mhm.
You don't want to
Mhm.
believe that that's true. I don't want to believe that that's true. But if your website is like 15 years old, good God, what else are you ignoring?
Right.
However, if your website is like 5 years old, okay, I can forgive you. If it's like within the last couple of years, okay, it makes sense. But like, no one uses front page anymore. Okay. I used to develop websites on front page years ago. And I
Oh
actually
boy.
used to like put on my crazy little cabal, hoodie and everything and just sit there with the code and, the glasses late at night, like staring at my screen. Good times, good times. Old technology. I mean, hey, fun
Gotta love
fact,
it.
Laura still reads HTML, CHS, or CSS rather, in PHP and all those things. And while I don't do those things anymore, thank you, sweet baby Jesus, I still understand the programming languages.
Yep.
Oh,
I do not
so
miss the days of programming in HTML.
no, but it is important to know.
Mhm.
I would argue it's good evergreen wisdom that everybody should have, but at least at a basic level. So when we're thinking about a lot of these things, it can be intimidating. But here's what you should know. No, you don't have to do it all at the same time. In fact, Vision Advertising is celebrating our 25th anniversary. We are doing a rebrand because it's coinciding with our 25-year anniversary. It's kind of a big deal. I feel very old, also kind of a big deal. So we're updating our branding. We're updating our website. We're doing a lot of different things. We are not doing it all at the same time. Do you know why? Because I don't want to make my staff hate me. That's why. Also, nobody cares. We're not Coca-Cola. We can do a gradual rollout. And if someone from Coca-Cola is listening, God bless you. We love your sugary beverages.
Sponsor me,
us,
please.
Right? But most of us can do gradual rollouts. You can do behind the scenes soft launches, and then you can do a hard launch with, your website launch with a press release and brand new logo all at the same time. But you could be doing a tone shift in your communication. You can work on talking points. You can work on behind the scenes stuff. There's ways to do all of this stuff in a very non-intimidating, not scary way. And it doesn't have to be a big stressful endeavor. In fact, it also doesn't even have to be a largely super expensive endeavor, but it does need to be done because stale turns people off. And then we end up not making the money that we want. We don't end up getting the high paying customers that we want. We end up staying stale and our revenue stays stale. And that's basically just a big fat no.
Correct.
So on that, is there anything else that I should add to this, Julia, or you think we can put a lid on it?
I'm feeling good about this. Let's put a bow on it.
All right, let's do it. So thank you guys for listening. I'm Laura DiBenedetto, and Julia Becker Collins is my co-host, an awesome human being.
Hostess with the mostest.
Exactly. Again, we're sponsored by Vision Advertising. I hope you'll give our company a shot if you're in the market for some rebranding or you just want to talk about it. Conversations are always free. Go to vision-advertising.com and we will see you in the next episode where we do an even deeper dive into branding. Talk to you soon.